some mutual aid groups are seeking funding in a lot of different ways. Like they're seeking money because they're going to give it directly to people for their rent or for their medical expenses or whatever, or they're seeking funding because they're going to pay people who work at the mutual aid project to do some part of the work, or they need to pay for space or whatever. And one thing that some groups do is like set up criteria, like because funding is so sticky and dangerous, because it's like, it often comes with strings attached. That are designed by people who are funding things to, either surveil the work or limit the horizons of the work, how radical it can be, et cetera, or who can be served, right? Like a lot of social services funding comes with limits on you can't serve undocumented people, or you can't serve people with, these kinds of criminal records, or you can't serve, you must serve these kinds of people, whatever. You can't serve people if they're over this age or under this age or whatever. So if we don't want to do that, it can be useful for the group to have clear criteria about what funding it will and won't accept. And so that then the people who are doing fundraising in the group can operationalize that and not have to go back to the group for every single decision about fundraising, but instead can kind of like take that and move forward to implement whatever the fundraising plan is. And so I think that really varies what people will put on that list. It could be like, we don't take money from the government. Some groups don't take money from the government because they feel like it comes with surveillance, or we don't take money from these kind of, corporations because we see them as like kind of trying to like cleanse or give good PR to their like, extractive activities through groups like ours. Or we don't take money if it has these kinds of reporting requirements. Like we don't want to have to, or we don't take money that comes with telling us who we can and can't serve if it's trying to exclude these key people in our communities who we want to make sure we do serve. Like figuring out what that criteria is and what makes sense for what you're actually doing. Like maybe you're like, yeah, we don't care. Sure, we'll take money. There's special weird, pandemic money available from our city government. It doesn't really have reporting requirements, or we think we can fudge them. Like, sure, fine, take the money and run. Like maybe we have a plan around that. It's like, there's no clean money. So it's not about, we're going to only take clean money. There's no such thing. But it's more, what do we worry would undermine our work? Some groups only take, grassroots fundraising money. Like we're going to raise money on social media and through Venmo and through parties or whatever, we think that's more community building. We think it's more, like accountable to people that we really want to be accountable to. We don't want to be accountable to philanthropy. We want to be accountable to people in our communities. So we're just going to take money, like, small donations at a time that way. There's no like right answer about this. It's more just like what fits with what your mutual aid group is doing and what the dangers of fundraising and sort of the limits of that funding imposes on the work are for the particular work you're doing. And especially because like most mutual aid projects are trying to provide something to people who are being left out of like whatever, if the government or the nonprofits are providing something. So you don't want to take money that mimics their exclusions, right? That forces you to leave out the same people they're leaving out, right? I think that's probably one of the key pieces that creates like the enforcement of eligibility criteria for support that is about leaving out stigmatized people.